people often ask, do you do the baking? And I say, oh no.
No.
No. No. And I've been fortunate from the day we opened. In fact, before we opened, I have always had really great bakers along the way to get us to where we needed to be. But it was 3+ years ago that everything changed. Because you called By the Way Bakery looking for a job. For
a retirement job. Okay, retirement job.
Looking for a job as a part-time cake decorator. We started actually with a phone call.
True.
And I got in my car, leaving Hastings.
First she asked me, she said, we've had so many people apply for a cake decorating position. Is it decorating like at home or you? I said, no, I do a little more than that, a little more than at home. But I didn't, I really didn't let on.
You were true Kathy. You were totally modest. And you said, well, I've been baking all my life. And I said, I'll be honest with you. I get a lot of calls. I bake for the church bake sale, for my grandchildren. I had an easy bake oven, and now I want to really grow.
A little bigger.
And you said, no, I've been baking all my life. My father owned a grocery store and put me to work at 5.
We've all been there.
And I remember we had this discussion literally from the time I left the Hastings shop till I pulled into my driveway 4 minutes away.
True.
And I knew I wanted to work with you.
When you have the feeling like it was time to start over. It was time to start a different path, a different method, a different way. And I knew I was going to have to, my children also told me that it was another way to prevent Alzheimer's disease for me, because I don't bake without buttercream. And they said, Mom, you're going to learn how to do so many new things. So much better for your brain. You'll learn, you don't have to use your toothbrush on your left hand. But it was I knew I wanted the experience. I wanted to come to work for this woman. And I went home saying, I hope she hires me. I really do hope that she hires me.
And there was no doubt from the moment I hung up the phone from that 4-minute phone call, like, yes, this is the person I want to continue the journey with.
I just knew By the Way Bakery would exceed where I came from. Not be equal, not be the same, would be so different and exceed, really. And I said, yep, this is where I'm not going to babysit in retirement. I'm going to continue doing what I'm going to do. So, well, and we're here.
And here we are. And I love that you say you come from the world of butter and cream.
Do.
Because in fact, you also come from the world of ice cream.
True.
Because there's no other showstopper than when I say to people, yes, my head baker was part of the team that invented Fudgie the Whale.
True.
Yes, and if you grew up in New York, you know.
You knew Carvel ice cream, right. I had the opportunity to work for Mr. Carvel for about 15 years, from high school on. So until I basically had my first child, and he was like a grandfather for me, working. Taught me every aspect of the franchise industry, but we worked in the lab together. And he would come in, 6 o'clock in the morning and tell you good evening if you came in at 6:05, kind of a deal. But very intent on never copying anything. He had to have it his idea, his development, his mold, his everything. There was to be no Mickey Mouse or none of this. It was what he wanted. And we were coming to Father's Day, and he kept saying, I don't know what to do. I just want to go with a shirt and a tie. And what do fathers do? Fish, what fish? Oh, fish. He said, no, fish too little. Whales. Big. You got to think big, kid. Whales. I said, okay, TC, whales. So the artist in-house draws these whales for him with smiles and eyes and crazy. They were yellow, pink, blue, green, whatever. So I would every 50 minutes go down on the ice cream machine, make these whales, freeze them, put them in, unmold it, and every time I unmolded, the tail fell off. And it kept falling off and falling off, and I kept looking at him saying, geez, Tom, what do we do? I said, I got it. Chocolate. Chocolate is going to hold this thing, will hold this tail on. And he's looking at it, and he's looking at his Fudgie. Fudgie the Whale. That's what we got that? Fudgie the Whale, kid. It's going to be. Last year, I'd gotten a phone call. I had several phone calls with people saying, you know, Tom Carvel, people said maybe you would be one of the people left from this crew that did this, and they made such a big deal that he was 40 years old, you know, and
40 being Fudgie.
40 being Fudgie, and who knew, you know, and I think the same thing will happen here. We'll find our Fudgie here, you know, every day is something new here. Every day is a new cake, a new muffin, a new this, a new that, and I plan on having a Fudgie the Whale here. There's going to be a product here that people are going to say, yep, by the way, you know, and it will happen because I feel that's why I'm supposed to be here, because we need to do that. We'll do it here.
And we'll do it here.
Mm-hmm.
We will definitely
We'll definitely do it here.